Oh, happy Friday. Good morning. It's Friday morning, which means that it's time for the John and Dave Show. 30 quick minutes of nothingness. I hope that you're ready. Good morning. I am coming to you live from Gilbert, Arizona, helping Heidi move into a new house in real time. It's going to be a hot day of relocating every single possession that she's ever owned in her entire life. And I am here for it. Good morning and welcome. It's going to be a workout day. Luckily, I checked the temperatures. It's supposed to be around 111 degrees today, so it feels right. I'm excited about it. Without further ado, please welcome the most handsome man in all of Nashville, Mr. John Peter Bartholomew A.
No, dude. No,
What?
I don't like how this day is starting for you at all. I don't like it. I don't care. I don't care for this one bit. You guys
John,
haven't even dated long enough to be moving stuff in that level of heat. There's categories. There's like 2 years in,
we're on an accelerated timeline, John. You can blame COVID, you can blame the long distance, but I am showing up in a way that, here's the thing, and you need to know this about me.
I'd love to know the thing. Tell me the thing.
I'm a pretty good guy. I mean, I don't want to be weird about it. I'm a pretty good guy. And so it comes with a little asterisk.
Second part.
By about 11:30 a.m. this morning, maybe 3 hours from now, I'm going to start complaining pretty consistently throughout the balance of the day. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, Jenny will be like, when we have things like that, she'll a week before start to kind of prepare me emotionally and be like, hey, remember that thing we're going to is going to be 9 hours long. And so at minute 90, I don't need you to be like, let's wrap this up. Here's
the thing. We're working against a ticking clock. I get my kids back tomorrow night at 6 p.m.
Yep.
I've only got so many hours of moving. So if we get to like 11 p.m. tonight and it don't feel like we've made enough progress, Daddy's working through the night.
Oh boy. Well, I got on and I was like, so you are moving her out of Arizona, right? Because it's too hot. Is that?
No.
Just deeper into Arizona.
Deeper. We tried to find on a map. Is there a warmer place in Arizona? Oh, there is. Let's move there, and let's actually have moving day be on that hot day. It works out perfectly.
Is Jeff Bezos going to the sun yet? Because you could look into that. Like if Elon Musk has a rocket that just launches rich people into the sun, and they're like, I hope it's amazing.
The training would literally be on this street in Gilbert, Arizona in about 2 hours.
There'd just be investment bankers walking down the street. That is so funny, dude.
Look at that bald rich guy. Oh, that perfect.
He's on fire. All right. Somebody just said, Dave, I love seeing you with Jay Shetty. Did you go on his podcast?
I had this crazy experience over the last handful of days. Heidi and I went to a mastermind. I've been inside of it for the last 4 years, and it's something that Brendan Burchard years ago pulled together. And there was like 25 of us sitting in a room sharing, hey, we found a way to hack the universe. And if you want to, fast pass line to get ahead of whatever it is that you're trying to work through, here's a tip. But more, it was like, here's the thing I'm struggling with. And if you've been through this and already figured it out, could you please help me? Because I can't get out of my own way. And so it was just, it was rad. But Jay was there with his wife and a whole host of people. And community ends up being so important for so many reasons. But being in community, as you know, because you're in a great mastermind too, like being in community with people that think like you do, but that are in some respects further along in parts of your life that you want to be further along in, ends up being like everything.
Who did you hate the most in that group? No, I'm just joking. That's a terrible question. Who do you feel like was surprisingly awesome that you're like, this person, I got to spend time with them. I couldn't wait to come back and be like, you guys got to meet blank.
Yeah. So I respected her and am a fan of her work before I got here, knew her, but hadn't spent any time with her, Mel Robbins. There was just a humanity in the way that she had represented, like how hard, like all of us, every one of us has been through the hardest, I'm going to argue, 18 months of our life in some respect or not. And the willingness for her to just kind of like openly share, hey, here's some stuff that's been tough. Here's why I, am hopeful to, just she wants to change the entire world, and I think she will.
That's awesome.
But there was something about this mix of humor and honesty and just like, man, it's hard, but it's supposed to be, that made me, I just had so much more respect for her leaving, and I already she was already on a pedestal. So
that's
I love
great,
her.
dude.
Love
that's
her.
great. It's always good when you meet people that match what you hope they are. It always stinks when you get the reverse and you go, that's like,
one thing that was amazing is that she and her husband Chris were celebrating their 25th wedding anniversary, and they had to make a choice when the dates of this gathering were thrown out, to either keep the plans they had to by themselves celebrate a quarter century of time together, or come into and be part of this group on their 25th wedding. Like their day of wedding anniversary was in the midst of our session on the second of 3 days. And as they were leaving, they were just like, oh my goodness, did we make the right choice?
Oh, that's great.
There was something beautiful about like our ability as a group to celebrate their, journey, but that also you leave just feeling like, oh, sometimes you forget about why you do it, or you stay focused a little too much on people who are hating, and then you sit in a room like that and you're like, none of that crap that I had been distracted by matters. I am so like connected to my purpose. Evan was there. What's up, Evan? There's like this reminder of why we do the things we do when you get this chance to sit with people who can remind you of your truth when like the world would otherwise try to sell lies. And I loved it. It was so good.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. Very cool. I don't think I've met Evan, but anybody that says, let's go.
Evan,
date,
well, I'll just say this, like, this is one of those beautiful things. Evan is the very best, most expert human being on the planet around YouTube. Understands it in ways that none of us could possibly understand, like algorithm breaking and the way that you think about the thumbnail and the content.
I'm the worst. I'm the worst at YouTube.
I'm the worst too. But this is
I'm the worst.
This is what's beautiful. You sit in a room like this, and you got someone like Evan who just like believes his reason for being on the planet is to serve others, including service of, hey, I've got expertise in this space that would fundamentally change your business or the way that you reach out to and have connection with your community. Please let me help you. He's like shaking me by the lapels if I was still wearing lapels. And I just like, I dig that because I don't know how to do it. Like we had Tom Bilyeu was there from Impact Theory. And he and his wife Lisa are super into these things called NFTs and are super into crypto. I don't know anything about literally anything when it comes to crypto or NFTs. And the way that they were talking about it, it's like, hey, this is like the internet being described in 2004 before it exists in 2005. And you might not acknowledge that that's going to be a thing, but you have to think about the world not as you think it is, but as the way it actually is. And the way that it actually is this is a fundamental game changer. And I'm just like, I'm not smart enough to understand
anytime
it.
somebody tries to explain NFTs to me, I start to think about like candy, like goals I have for running. Like I immediately glaze over. I'm like, I know I'm gonna need to know how to do this, but right now, like, it's so confusing to me. And they always go, it's simple. And then the next thing they say, I don't find to be simple. I find it to be like, they go, imagine the cloud, but more difficult. And you're like, I already have a hard time with the cloud. So, okay.
I mean, Tom would start saying something, and he said at one point, when I say this next thing, often I get dead shark eyes as the look back. And I'm like, if you have to pre-warn people that there's likely dead shark eyes coming, we're going to talk about something I don't get. It's a guarantee.
I'll give that to my kids. Like, I assume my kids, like, they can do NFTs. Like, I didn't try to get my dad to blog. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't like, Dad, blogging is the future. He'd be like, I have a job. Like, I don't.
You're missing it.
Yeah. So, well, if I see an NFT from you and it's, I don't know what it would, I don't even know where I would see it or how I would engage with it. So, but
we might need to make an NFT out of one of our conversations, and then that single person, because there's just one fan. I mean, we might only have one fan, and I'm okay with it. But that one fan would value having a digital thing that is exclusively theirs. We'll see. I don't know.
What if that's our first NFT? It's a John and Dave show, and if like no sponsors, we skip sponsors, we
Nope.
skip any sort of monetization and go right to the most crazy far out, and we have an NFT, and there's one very rich, because we're expensive, a very rich person. That's all it takes. We just need one.
I hope that we do it, if for no other reason, then I want to be able to try and explain it to my grandma.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's gonna be
Some
like,
people,
you know
some
what?
people are asking real quick in like the most basic way.
I can't wait for this.
NFT is non-fungible token. It's the idea of having an exclusive piece of content made out of a digital thing. So if you think about the cell that Mickey Mouse was drawn on originally, if you had that drawing, that one of one, if you had the Mona Lisa, the one of one that Da Vinci himself painted, you'd be rich. You would have something of value. But in the digital world, it's hard to create scarcity until now. And so if you were able to say, this is the email that Jeff Bezos wrote when he founded Amazon, why would you want that? But if maybe it's something else, but like people are taking video content and suggesting this is now the only true copy of this that actually exists. And if you want to own this, now you are the owner of this digital thing, you get to own it. And there's value for it, and you can trade it, you can resell it. It's complicated, but I'm told by really, really smart people that it's the future.
I was told Clubhouse was the future as well. And so
sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong.
I was told that when the world changed to 2000, things were like terrible things were going to happen. Like,
end of the world.
End of the world. So you're right. Sometimes it's dead on. Sometimes you go.
Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't. Almond Joy has nuts and mounds don't. Yeah.
No, those are terrible. Those are terrible. Yeah. So in a year from now, you and I are going to be like all about NFTs, and I'm going to remember this conversation, and hopefully it'll become an NFT. But I do have some questions.
Let's go.
First one, and let's stay with the serious topic. Which of the Spice Girls would you have dated?
Oh. Well, I mean, I was
and I don't mean currently, I just mean in general. Like, don't give me as a dad of
simple.
4, like, I don't want that one.
Posh Spice. Yeah.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, she was something that was outside of my league. I mean, like, as is most people, like, still walking the planet. And, but there was something at that time where I was like, oh, well, she would never, ever return the phone call of a tall, skinny kid. I'll go for Posh Spice.
Posh Spice, okay. I think Ginger. I think I'm going Ginger Spice. Like,
Ginger.
I think I would have. Yeah, I think Jerry Hollowell, I think is how you say her name. So,
well, do you think that's what it is, or do you know?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I just pulled, like, I'm trying to, like, it was right there. I think that is. I could be wrong. It's got 2 L's. Whatever. Okay. So, follow-up question. Which of the Backstreet Boys do you think would be the toughest for you to fight? Like, scrappiest, maybe, knows some karate or kung fu. Of the Backstreet Boy lineup, who are you like, you know what? That's the one that's troubling to me. What's
interesting is you wouldn't think this, but it's probably Nick Carter. Because Nick, he's the skinniest, but he feels like he's been through the most. Most of it's self-inflicted. I'm going to say Nick's brought it on himself. Yeah. He knows what he's done. But he's one of those guys that you're like, yeah, and people would say AJ. He's got
I say AJ. I'm the same way. AJ is
everyone thinks it's AJ. You know what AJ has working for him?
A switchblade?
No,
he's got a switchblade. If you said to me which of the Backstreet Boys carries a switchblade, would you guess? And no, he doesn't.
Yeah. You think it's AJ, but AJ's beard is covering a soft center. And so he's like a caramel nougaty kind of guy in the middle. And so forget it.
Do you ever, follow-up question, do you ever think that the guys that were kind of like token, kind of relatable guy in boy bands get together? Like the third member of 98 Degrees. Do you even know his name?
100%.
Do you think they have a club, like a clubhouse?
Yeah, the guy that was standing next to Nick Lachey in the cover of the 98 Degrees thing that nobody knows. Yeah. Every once in a while calls up the fourth member of a more popular band and is like, you want to go to that par 3? Want to hit a couple golf balls around?
You think they do Top Golf? They go to Top Golf?
They might go to Top Golf. They might walk the course. I don't know what they're going to do.
I don't know.
They don't have that. They don't have Top Golf money anymore. They're going to go play the par 3, and they're going to walk and carry their own bags.
Okay, here's an old school. You know who's a member of that group? Jonathan Knight. So Jordan Knight, he was like one of the faces of NKOTB. He was hanging tough, as they say. Jonathan Knight was here's what I'm going to say. Jonathan Knight was the Hufflepuff of New Kids on the Block. I said it. I mean it.
You said it.
There's going to be Hufflepuff fans that regret that, but they know Jonathan Knight was the Hufflepuff of New Kids on the Block. You know what
I love? I love when you use your Harry Potter stuff on someone who doesn't appreciate it.
It doesn't mean anything to you. I know.
Nothing.
It's ridiculous. I just threw out pop culture gold. I wove something together over a period of decades, and you don't even, it just
I'm learning. Rachel's dating someone who is super into Harry Potter, and my kids are now like spending time rewatching the movies or the books or whatever. And around birthday time, it was time to get something for Ford, and I ended up getting him a Harry Potter Lego set because I wanted to create some continuity between houses. I don't know the first. Like Hufflepuff. No, don't know what. I still don't know what that means.
So I'll just give you the quick rundown. Is like Gryffindor, they're brave. That's what they're known for. They're brave.
Oh, John, hold on real quick. I'm getting a call. Yeah, I don't care. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, I listened to your NFT explanation, and Harry Potter has actually made money. Like NFT is money in the future that a kid playing Twitch in Ohio is telling you, yeah. There's tons of cash. Oh my God.
That's terrible. I'm so rude. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'm not even gonna tell you. Like that was such a Slytherin thing you just did, by the way. Boom. You just did a Slytherin thing.
See, the people are saying, let John speak.
Yeah.
See,
yeah. I was
now
educating.
People are turning on me.
I was educating. Hey, don't tell me because it's private. But you said Rachel is dating somebody who's really into Harry Potter. Is it the guy who played Draco Malfoy? Can I ask that? I mean, don't say anything.
I'm not at liberty to say.
I don't want to start rumors of like people, but like I don't know his name, like Tom something. I don't know. He's British, I think. But you don't even know who Draco Malfoy. This is useless. This is such a wasted.
I'm going along with you on this one because I don't want people to turn on me again.
Biblical. This is swan, like pearls before swine. That's what's happening right now. I'm just pearls. Like I'm a pearl factory, and you're over there. Nope. Ridiculous. Okay, more serious question. Do you use a time management system? Like, do you have a time management system that you're like, oh, this is how I lay out my week, or I got this journal, or I read Getting Things Done? Like, do you have any sort of time management system?
I use a person named Susan who helps me manage my calendar. And as it turns out, she's an amazing resource, but a shared resource with Heidi. And so she has worked with Heidi for 8 years. And when it comes to all of my meetings or when I'm going to do this or be there or need to like have a call or a Zoom or even hang out with you, she's the person who helps make sure that happens. And in the interest of making our long distance relationship work, because it's a shared resource, she also acts as this great like back and forth with Heidi so that we're coordinating how the heck do we go to this state or that state or who's got kids or what's happening. So it works out well.
What are you flying? Are you flying? What airline goes to Arizona? Is it
Southwest, baby? Southwest. Like I've almost exclusively flown on miles. I'm just now at the end of my miles time, but Heidi and I do Friends Fly Free on Southwest. And so the tickets are actually pretty cheap already. The mile usage was a thing for the first year that almost exclusively covered our trip, but it's kind of like a commute. I like people talk about the going back and forth all the time. It's about 2 hours from plane to plane, on to off.
Door to door.
And so like when I was in LA, you could have a meeting in the Valley and it would take you about 2 hours to get there from Santa Monica. So I don't know, it just kind of is.
Follow-up question, Heidi related. Is it true you guys had to get a separate truck, like an additional moving truck for her pillows? Just a pure pillow truck where it was all pillows. And John, the movers, you got small little frail movers.
I've never seen so many pillows in my life.
I see 7 behind you right now, and that's only one corner of the house. Yeah.
If we did a tour of this house, the over-under in Vegas of how many pillows would be in this house is more than 340. It's just,
Yeah.
it's really incredible.
Yeah. Does she feel like they're going to run out? Like it's a supply chain thing? Like, and
Here's the
she's trying to
thing.
stock up?
I've tried to engage in this conversation. I've even tried to use humor. And I'm going to tell you right now, people don't think this is funny.
No.
Nope.
Yeah.
Pillows are very serious. It's an expression of like what happens inside. It's like, this is where my joy
Yeah.
comes from.
This is my nest.
Attack,
Yeah.
don't attack my pillows. If it takes an
Yeah.
extra 40 minutes to make a bed in the morning, let it go. Where do you have to be?
That's
Yeah.
funny. That
Yeah.
is funny. Yeah, I talked to 3 different people in supply chain management this week, and this is just a bonus tip. They all said the same thing, which was buy your Christmas presents now. Every one of them said the supply chain is getting worse on every industry. 3 different industries, 3 different, completely different industries. They all said the same thing, and we're like, John, buy your Christmas presents now. So that's just a bonus tip.
That's a gift.
You figured out who is the toughest Backstreet Boy. That, I need to write that down, that Jonathan Knight is the Hufflepuff, because I don't think anybody will appreciate that. Clearly you.
It
but
feels
also,
like a tweet. It feels like a tweet that's written itself.
I'm going to tweet this right after this. That's right. Hey, I want to add a segment to this show. And I didn't get it to the writing meeting early enough, to the writer's room, but I want to add a shameless plug segment. I think we should every week, at least one shameless plug. You go first. It's got to be book, right? I mean, like, let's go, right?
Easily.
So give the people all the info.
Yeah, shameless plug for me, for sure, 100%. My book, October 26th, it's a coming, and we are doing 90 Days of Courage as a challenge inside the community. Last night, I had to push what normally is a Monday conversation around our coaching to Thursday because I was doing my mastermind, but we had this fantastic conversation about finding your why, how to stay connected to purpose. If you can't find it, how to figure it out. But if you are interested, it is a free community. There's about 6,000 people inside of a community that are loving on each other every single day. Go to mrdavehollis.com/book, and you can get access to a couple of fantastic courses, immediate jumped into this gang of people that are, again, just loving on each other in this community page, and are going to have now 9 more weeks of coaching in this 13 weeks total of coaching. So I'm excited about that. How about you? Shameless plug.
All It Takes Is a Goal podcast. I have a podcast where I talk about goals, and I just did an episode about strategic boredom, why it's good to be bored. I realize the only time that I have ideas is when I'm in the shower, because it's the last space where I'm not filling my life with noise. So how do you have strategic boredom to increase your creativity? And then I did an episode recently on 4 ways to kick the comparison trap. We've always thought the grass is greener on the other side of the yard, but now you have access to 10 million backyards. With social media, you have access to 10 million backyards. That's new, that's challenging. And that's why these videos are fun, because we get to share some kind of behind the scenes stuff of here's what's really going on, here's what I'm doing. So yeah, All It Takes Is a Goal is my podcast. Look it up on anywhere you listen to podcasts, or acuff.me/podcast. That was very fun.
Good. By the way, I mean, strategic boredom is a thing that I have been trying to be super intentional with my kids around.
Oh, yeah.
Because they have so much distraction and technology addiction and everything else that they aren't bored enough. And so like their imaginations are not being fostered because of the immediate pull and the like way that they can have any of their attention satisfied so fast. It's just like, forget it. How can we make you sit in a room for 2 hours with nothing but your imagination and a pen and piece of paper or whatever it might be? I want to encourage strategic boredom.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
I think it's huge for kids. My last question. So what is going on this weekend? What's something that you're like, ooh, it's Friday, we should add a what's this weekend? This weekend, as you look over the horizon of Saturday, Sunday, what are you like, ooh, that'll be fun? I mean, moving is so fun, but I mean, other than this, what else is fun?
I mean, the reality is I am suspending fun until this move is done. So it's going to be nonstop until I get on a plane to head back and get the kiddos tomorrow night. I'm actually looking forward to a Sunday of rest and a Sunday of just hanging out with the kids. We usually have like 3 days, then 4 days, or 4 days, then 3 days. And this time we did a week on, week off to accommodate my having to be out of town. And so I just haven't seen the kids for a little bit of time. I'm excited to just like have a day where we hang out at the pool, relax, chill. And my chill in part is because Monday and Tuesday, I am recording the audiobook for Built Through Courage. And so I want to just be nice and mellow on the old vocal cords, hang out, relax, and wake up, hopefully ready to plow through half the book.
Can I give you a tip? I just recorded mine. I did my audiobook like 4 months ago.
Yep.
2 tips. 1, add bonus stories. Add some riffs. Like add some riffs where you go, you explain something like, oh, hey, here's a thing, because it's another way to serve people. Because then people go, wow, I read the physical book, but I also did the audiobook because there's bonus stories. So go in with a couple of bonus stories. I always do that. The second thing is make sure that you know the URL to kick them to if there's something printed that an audio person would want. So like I know that I have this, you know, kind of thing called the new anthem about these affirmations that we tested. And if you're listening on an audiobook, it's annoying to try to write them all down. So I have a URL where you can go get the PDF. So make sure you're thinking through like, okay, how do I super serve an audio listener? Like those are my 2 tips.
I love that. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, 3rd tip, don't say the word rural in a book. It's really difficult to say. I had rural road, and eventually the sound engineer was like, dude, change the word. This is terrible. So I had to change it to country road. So if at any point you don't be afraid to change a word you can't say right. And there's no shame in that. There's no shame in that. So, well, good, dude. Well, I'll let you get back to packing. I need to go tweet this awesome line I had about Jonathan Knight and Hufflepuff.
Go tweet that line.
Because when God gives you a gift, you use the gift. Like like a man who found a pearl in a field, I'm selling everything to go do it. I'm about to, like, I wrote it down on this note, gold. I'm going to get 4 retweets, but I don't even care. It's about
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
It's about in here.
As we transition out of a fun, somewhat meaningless 30 minutes of time, I would be remiss to not acknowledge that in the news in real time, there are some very serious things that are happening. And I want to encourage anyone who got something of a break from all of what's happening in the world in this, that you might repay that break with spending some time in prayer for the families of the soldiers who lost their lives in Afghanistan. There are 13 soldiers. It's just a tragic, heartbreaking recognition of sacrifice, and these families, their lives are forever, ever, ever going to be changed. And they're certainly not spending time hanging out with John or myself, laughing it up on a Friday. They are
and it's not over. We're not reflecting on something that's done. That's the extra scary part. Like, it's still in motion. My youngest daughter's one of her teachers, their son had to go. Like, he just got, a week ago, and it was not going to, hey, you're going. And he jumped at it, the idea that there are men and women that answer that call, that have a life where they're moving pillows and they're playing with a kid in a pool, and then they get a call, is unbelievable. And I'm so grateful we live in a country where people will do that and allow us to be ridiculous, because we have a ridiculous amount of freedom where we can do something like this, and you can travel easily back between 2 states, and you can the things we get to do we take for granted a lot of times, until you realize there's a whole world where what we get to do is not the norm. And so I'm grateful for that. I'm glad you brought that. That's good. That's a good wrap up. Full
circle, brother. Full circle. Let's
keep that in mind.
Love you too, brother. Have a great weekend. I will see you next week.